has the heart of an actor. He has the passion of an actor. He's an actor who became a writer, and he will tell you his very amazing story. I am honored to spend some time with him, and I'm really so pleased that you would come here on a Saturday afternoon to share your gift with the one and the only incredible masterclass, Mr. Brian Currie.
Thank you. Hey, no, you. Bernard. I mean, come on, really. Thank you so much.
That's it.
Come on. Bernard. It's for Bernard this time. Thank you so much.
All right.
I appreciate that very much.
So,
great. What an energy. I love this.
It's energy.
It's fantastic.
As I was telling Brian, we have 45 actors from 19 countries and one actress who is so amazing, just flew in today from London, right?
I got here yesterday.
But from where?
From London.
From London,
Yeah.
just to
Thank you. That's
catch the
great.
last 2 days.
Wow, this is great.
So
wow.
this is a type of devotion. These are really the future stars, and that's why I want them to be in a place where they could be appreciated. And so
That is great. Well, you are fantastic, Bernard, and you've been a supporter of ours since the beginning. I mean, he knows everyone in Hollywood. Honest to God, he knows every single person in Hollywood. And thank God he loved our movie and was so nice.
I wrote
we were in trouble.
No, you're being much too kind. You had an incredible film. I think Green Book is an important film. It's a film about passion. It's a film about understanding each other. And, we need a movie like that. It opened people's hearts. Yeah. And if you open people's hearts, they're available to understand each other more.
Well, thank you very much.
We're all the same, and that's what you do. So tell us a little bit about your journey, starting as an actor, obviously.
Wow.
So tell us, because you had a very... what's your journey?
Well, my journey, I went to college, and after college I did the old, travel around the world with the backpack. Oh. And but I had an aunt that always pushed me to want to get into the movie business. And I always had in the back of my head that I was going to be an actor. And so I went around the world for 5 years, and then I came back, and I wanted to know, I took acting classes in college, but nothing dramatic, nothing great. I mean, I just wanted to know I could put one foot in front of the other and memorize lines and things like that. Then when I got back, I said, okay, this is the time. I went to Emerson College for a while, and and learned. Took some great classes there, and decided I'm going to California. I'm going to make it. And what happened is my father got cancer. I was like, this is going to be besides. I love the guy. Now I'm staying here until the last gun is fired. And he was. I was 25 at the time. He died when I was 28. So then I said, okay, after 28, I'm going back to. I'm going to California. That's a little late, to start your acting career. I had no money, and I would recommend anybody who decides that this is it, and I think you've all decided this is it. Set yourself up better than I did. Honest to gosh. Didn't know anybody. The car was breaking down on the way out. One of those, not a great. It was a great idea to come, and my passion was to come out here. But I just wasn't prepared at all. I mean, nothing. It was a mess. And so, as a result, I worked every single odd job you can think of for 8 years. And I would say this. I would do small parts. I'd do soap operas, which was great. And I did some small parts in movies, which was great. I took Jack Costlin's acting class only because he was Clint Eastwood's acting coach way back in the Universal Studios days. Yeah. Old guy, great guy.
What was his name?
Jack Costlin. And he used to tell me all the stories about how Clint couldn't remember lines and how he got him to do that, and how sometimes when Clint would be embarrassed in front of the class, he'd make it worse and have him come out in a woman's, his grandmother's nightie type thing, honest to God, just to make him more embarrassed. Like, you think you're embarrassed saying lines? Wait till you wear this outfit. and it was pretty funny. And he told me also he was allergic to horses, which I didn't know that, Clint.
Clint's allergic to horses.
And he fakes it pretty well. There's an actor for you. There's an actor. And he was thus head of casting for Clint Eastwood, El Paso Productions, for 17 years. Great guy. Then I took theater and everything else. And you know what I fell prey to, as I take a drink of water here?
Take a deep breath in, everybody.
I like that. I could use that right now. I'm sweating like I'm operating on the Pope over here.
Tissues? We have some tissues back there. Do you have any tissues?
But what was I going to say? What I fell prey to is I didn't, and sometimes it happens as a writer as well. You have to get up there and do it. I mean, I was the guy that kind of was at the back of the class, never like letting everyone else do it. Kind of afraid to get up there and throw myself out there. Even auditions, even for auditions, you know, I'd be like, you know what, I'd walk out sometimes because I wasn't confident in the material that I was, good enough to do it. Don't do that. Whatever you do, don't be that person. That you get up there, make a fool of yourself if you have to. Who cares? I mean, just get up there and do it. I remember during the filming of Green Book, when I saw the exercise you just did, was standing. And it's amazing what can be conveyed with no dialogue. And I'm a writer, and of course you want the people to know the dialogue.
Right, of course.
But at the same time, so much is said. Viggo and Mahershala never even saw each other for the first 10 days of that shoot. They were in the back seat. Viggo was in the front seat. And as far as acting is concerned, they never looked at each other. They had to listen to each other. The rearview mirror was actually a camera. So he wasn't really looking back at him, seeing what his reaction was. It was just them reacting to, listening to what they were saying and reacting to what they were saying. And it was amazing. The first scene they actually saw each other face to face was in the diner when he was sitting there going, Orpheus in the Underworld. That was the first time that they actually did a scene face to face.
Wow.
But anyways, so I realized after a while that I couldn't pay the bills acting. I couldn't because I just didn't prepare myself well enough. So I started writing, and I was lucky enough to sell a whole bunch of screenplays. And
who was your agent then? Did you have an agent?
I had no agent. I had no agent. I had no agent until the Academy Awards. Oh my God. Just in case you think you need an agent. Right? And now we have Verb, they're fantastic. But if you're just chasing around agents, what was that? Sweating, yeah?
No, if you want to.
Yeah. This is a scalpel, you know? One of the Teresa.
If you need it, because you look so beautiful.
Oh, thank you, yeah.
I think that it's an amazing thing. There is, on a side note, there's the Emmy Awards that just came out. And everybody wants an Emmy Awards. And there are 3 people who wanted an Emmy Awards who are in the Game of Thrones. But the agency, the HBO, I think, is it HBO, didn't put their name up for nomination. So 3 actors put their own names up for nomination, paying $250 for a possibility, and all 3 of them got nominations. Oh. And that's what happened to you.
Be proactive on your own career. No one.
I mean, you didn't have an agent.
Right.
But you know what? When he's unstoppable. Now, what kind of things did you sell before? What type of genre did you write?
Well, luckily, I wrote, the first thing I wrote was a movie very similar to Ocean's 11, before Ocean's 11, the remake of Ocean's 11. I sold it to Paramount Studios, a guy named Jim Jacks, good man. And then I wrote a horror movie, kind of a monster movie, also for Paramount Studios for Dwayne Johnson. And Dwayne actually came to me. He was an awesome guy, fantastic guy. And he had not quite broken yet. So he's like, I'd love to do this movie. I'm like, I'd love to have you in this movie. He was still a wrestler at the time. And what happened is he got into the system. He did Scorpion King.
Oh, that's a very good one.
And we remain friends to this day, and every time we see each other, we're like, when am I going to do your movie? However, he just took off on a straight shot. So the first 2 was for Paramount. Then I wrote one with Scotty Rosenberg, good friend of mine. In fact, I'm officiating his wedding in Martha's Vineyard.
And you're officiating, meaning that you're...
I'm up there.
You're like a priest or something?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you do?
Yeah, I'm going to tell him, though. I'm going to say, listen, Scotty, I know that if I overheard you tell your wife that if I don't make it past the Golden Globes, we're sticking with the rabbi. That's what I'm going to say. But no, he's a great friend of mine, and I've been friends of his before he sold the script, and now he did Beautiful Girls, then he did Con Air, and then he did Gone in 60 Seconds, and now he has 8 TV shows, and he's one of most successful guys around.
Wow.
But he's just a gem. So I'm going out there August 17th, Martha's Vineyard.
Martha's Vineyard. You know, there's so many projects that you're working. What are you working on right now? What are some things that you're doing right now?
I was lucky enough to executive produce Vigo's movie that should be great. He's just such a talented guy.
It's the first time you directed.
First time he's directed. He also wrote it. It's called Falling, and he's in London right now editing it. And I can't wait to see it. I mean, I can't wait to see it all put together. I was on the set.
And where did they shoot that?
Toronto.
Okay.
And a little bit in Venice. So I'm also writing a screenplay with Peter Farrelly. We're getting the band back together, and we're doing a movie for Skydance and Paramount Studios, which is a big Vietnam epic movie. And with another guy named Peter Jones, who's a very talented writer. He did Hall Pass. Funny guy, very funny guy, talented guy. And I'm also doing a movie that I wrote with a friend of mine, Conrad Goody, in Mexico, and it's a heist movie. And it's going to be an action movie, and there's going to be a lot of...
Where do all these ideas come from that you can... Where do you think the creativity comes from?
I would say living life, you know? Just, I mean, every one of you has 10 great stories in you, no question about it. And if you can fine-tune those into 4 really great ones, you know, you can, write them down. You know, if you live life, and sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's difficult, and when it's difficult, it's just as important. It's a better story. It's a better story.
If it's difficult, that's a drama.
Right.
That's a drama. Tell us a little bit about what are 3 things you would recommend actors to do if they came here? What is your piece of advice for people who are starting? A lot of these people are not starting, but they are starting in LA for the first time. And but what would you think that actors should do that sometimes they don't do? What is 3 pieces of advice you would give somebody?
I would say a few things are, a couple of them are prioritize. You know, don't waste your time. Prioritize. And you never step on anybody, but sometimes with friends you have to step over them if they're not prioritizing. You know, you'd like to, nobody can do 100% of, like if you're doing 4 different things, you can't put 100% into every one of those things. You know, something's gonna be lacking. And if it's not your career, then what are you doing, right? Yeah. I mean, that's why you're here. So prioritize. Wake up in the morning and just say, what's the most important thing I can... Besides, the most important thing is friends and family. I mean, the family, really. I mean, that's the most important thing. So if your mother's sick, my mother got sick and I went home, stayed in Boston for 8 years. The reason why is you got one mother, you have one family, you have one wife or husband. Just, that's a priority. But it's career-wise, go on the pecking order and say, what's going to help me? My acting class is going to help me, studying my lines is going to help me. Or I could go out with my friends. Well, okay. Go out with your friends, and then
how's that going to help you?
It's not going to help you.
No, it's not going to help.
What's going to happen is there's going to be a group of people trying in their beer about why things didn't work out. So
it's a business too. It really is called show business.
Yeah.
And if you don't run the business like a business, you're going to be out of business.
Yeah, quickly.
Yeah, quickly.
I would say it's almost more business than show sometimes once you start getting down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
And you know what I found, and I was lucky, work with nice people. Really, it's a very collaborative business. You're going to be in each other's face. I mean, working with Brown it doesn't get better than this. You're in the right room. That's a great start. But try to work with nice people, because if you're like this all the time, nothing creative comes of that.
You are working with one of the people that were here with us the last time, who honored us, Peter Farrelly.
Mm-hmm. Great. He's one of the best guys of all time.
We just fell in love with him. And he brought us to Academy Awards. He was right after he won.
Yep.
We were just so honored by him and his generosity. So it's no wonder you guys are the same, because you always attract who you are, not who you want to be. You attract who you are, and you are one of those type of same cloth.
Everyone, luckily, with Viggo Mortensen, with Mahershala Ali, with Pete. With Linda Cardellini, you couldn't have got nicer people. I mean, everybody was so nice and supportive, and would spend extra time. We didn't even want to leave. Like, we'd shoot 16-hour days, and then we'd all want to hang out together. and talk about how to kick up the next scene, or it's amazing when you deal with actors like those three. The first thing they're always prepared. I mean, they come, and being a writer, I love when I hear the lines come out effortlessly. And then if they're so secure in their lines that if you have to change one, they can just, it's like a computer, I can't believe it. Take that out, put this in, boom, it happens, And yet they're in the moment enough to, like rehearsal getting out of the car, the whole set's blocked off, but he's checking for traffic, even though there's no traffic, the whole street's blocked off. But what would he do if he was getting out of a car? He'd be checking for traffic, Or kind of reminded me of that thing you just did with standing up, no legs. You always have to be in the moment. When rehearsal threw the bones out the window, that's all him. There's
He made that up? He said this?
Well, it's throw it out the window. But he threw it out like he was releasing all his energy out to the world, right? I mean, what a decision.
No, the idea is that he was doing something big. Well, that's a very important moment. That's just every moment is important with him. I've been trying to get him to come here, so I'm working on that.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's really good.
He is just he and his family are so nice. It's incredible. I mean, honestly, it's got to be one of the nicest guys in the planet, if not the.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He has
a baby now. I think he's
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why.
So he's a busy guy, and now he's doing Blade, which is great. Yeah, I just got pulled into Blade, which is fantastic. And he's just a super guy. Just a super guy. It just makes you smile when you see him, And Vigo as well. And they have different ways of approaching it. I mean, Vigo is he's massively intense and running around and thinking of new ideas. And Vigo's rehearsal is in his trailer, getting zen. And don't tell I got it. Don't no one talk to me. I got it. And he goes in there and kills it. And Vigo kills it too, but from a different angle.
Vigo was really spectacular.
Isn't he great?
Spectacular. Let's say it for Viggo Mortensen.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Initially he didn't want to do it. And
I understand.
Yeah, because he's not Italian.
Right, of course.
And he was like, there's some great Italian actors. And
There's lots of them.
Half of them.
I know half of those guys, yeah.
And
that is good.
Pete and I drove to his house in Idaho.
In Idaho?
We drove there.
From L.A.?
We actually, it's even worse, we drove there from Massachusetts.
Oh, wow.
I know.
You ran out of money? What?
No. Pete loves to take cross-country trips before he does movies. He just loves to clear his head. And we had so many laughs, and Pete's such a funny guy and a great guy that we were just laughing and joking and listening to Don Shirley music the whole way. And we actually picked the song selection as we were driving cross-country. And then we got into to Vigo, and it's just exactly what you'd expect. It was the first time I had met him, and he lives in a gigantic cabin in Idaho. Cabin, but it's one floor, but it's got a 70-foot ceiling. It's nuts, and it's got a tree growing in the middle of it. It's like something out of
it looks like a church.
Right out of The Hobbit, right? You can see.
And what did you say to him? What did you say when you met him?
You know what? We took a walk in the woods, the three of us.
Couple of punches. Let me change your mind for you. Let me change your mind for you.
Mess with Vigo. Who's going to mess with that guy?
Let me change your mind.
With Aragon. You don't mess with Aragon. And we went over, Pete particularly was speaking about how, because Vigo could speak fluent Italian. In fact, his Italian is fluent Italian. He speaks 8 languages, Vigo. Wow. Fluent, like nothing. I mean, it just goes like this. And so his Italian was almost too pretty. It wasn't like street Italian from New York. He was like, you got to tone it down. You sound like, Pavarotti. Yeah. But he knew he had to put on weight because he's such a lean guy and he's very meticulous about his health, And it's funny, we came across, there's grizzly bears out there.